Hello and welcome. Let us now learn about Amazon QuickInsight in details. In our homepage, we have all these topics, that is categories. We have the favorites. In this case, we might select an existing analysis or a report as one of our favorite. We have the reasons. We have folders and shared folder. We also have dashboards. We have the analysis. We have data sets. We have topics and community. Then under analysis, this is where we get the information, that is the analysis that we are interested in. We have some samples. Let's click on the first sample. There we go. It takes a while to load depending on your computational power. And we have some basic information that's guiding us how to create visuals and how to set information in these visuals. And that's it. We have our first visual here. Notice that this is just a simple report. With a single sheet. And we have bar charts, we have line charts, and pie charts. Let's look at the data. The data is on our left-hand side. We also have the menu bar at the top where we have the file, we have edit, we have data, we have insert, we have sheets, we have objects and such. Each of these have specific information that we can add that are easy to access. We have filters and parameters, we have insights, we have the chart properties, and so on. Let's now move on and learn how to add data into this. You'll notice that our data is sales pipeline. Let's try to create a new by adding a data set or accessing the current data sets. The data set available is sales pipeline, and it's on Spice. Spice is the data engine available in QuickInsight, where we can access data and store data for up to 10 GB of data for free. Insight allows free and easy access to this data, and we can manipulate and make transformations into the data and save it back to Spice. Our current chart using that. Let's go back home and see how we can add data. We have data sets. You click on data sets, give it a moment. These are the current data sets that we have in our Spice storage, and these are the sample data provided by QuickInsight. Let's try to add a new data set. We can add a data set by uploading a file, that is CSV file, TSV, CLF, ELF, Excel file, and JSON files. Then we can also connect data by connecting to other services like Salesforce, S3 Analytics, S3, Athenas, LDS, MySQL. We have all these services that we can connect to. Let's click on upload a new file. We use our usual data set, that is the Superstore data set, and give it a moment to upload. There we have the data set. This is the view of the data sets. We have all the variables. Click on next. This data set takes up 4.4 MB of storage, that is the Spice storage. We can edit this data. Under edit, we can change a few information, such as making sure the data is as it is supposed to be. We can change this to, we have sales. Sales is decimal float. We can change the data set. Let's see. We can make it decimal, fixed, or float. Let's make it fixed. There you go. It takes a while. We can also change this to decimal fixed because this is currency. And as we can look at this, we can see the information on this data. That is the data entries. We can also filter the data in the transformation. We can also create parameters. Now that's it for our data. If we review this, we should have a new data set, the data set that we just uploaded. Let's try and upload the data set again. There we have our data. Let's click on next, and we can edit or preview. We can augment our data using the SageMaker. This is another service by AWS. And let's just click on visualize. This will take us back to QuickInsight, where we can now start to create visual of the data. There we are. We have imported the data into QuickInsight. Let's start by learning how to use QuickInsight to analyze our data. The first visual that we can add is called autograph. This creates a graph automatically based on the field or the variable we input. Let's try to work with this and select the category field. The autograph provides the field and the count of this field. But what if this is not what we wanted? We can always change this by clicking on data. That is, we can always edit this, and let's see, we can change the visual as we wish. We have the count and the categories of this transaction, that is category of products. Under this, you'll notice that we have the x-axis is the category, and we need a value for the measure. Let's now have sales. Let's work with sales. We can drag and drop here, just like in Tableau. And there we go. We have sales against the categories. We have our chart, and notice that we can always flip this by clicking on, sorry about that. We can undo that by clicking on that. We can flip this by clicking on bar chart now. There you go. We have changed the orientation of our chart. For further formatting, we just click on this and we have the chart properties. We can change title as usual. This is sales by category. We can format this as we wish. We can center that, have it as large, then bold, and save. Then, we have the title, we have the zoom button, this button. It's not necessary in this case. We can always hide that. Then any other information that we are not interested in, we can always hide. Let's see. We don't want to sort the data as it is already sorted. We have axis line, we have labels. Let's have the labels. Then let's go back to, we have the labels. We don't want the grid lines. We can remove those. Then we can see the data labels, and under these, we can select the information that we're interested in under tooltip. In this case, we have the category and the sales, and we can further edit these. That's it for a simple bar chart in QuickInsight. Let's now try and make it look better. In our case, we want to create a nice looking chart. Let's see, for the x-axis, there we go. We have our nice chart, and notice that we can always change the color of our bar chart by clicking on that. We can click on that and say we want to change the color to green. Then this, we want this to be, let's say we can have a blue, and this specific one, we want this to be, let's say that. There we are. We have different colors for our bars in the bar chart. We have a nice looking bar chart. Then remember, we can always use different visualizations to represent our data. Let's work with the donut chart, and let's see if we can work with segments. And then we don't want the count, but we want the sale by segments. We want sales by each segment. Remember, we are grouping by segment. Then we have the sale, we have the consumer, which is the highest, then the corporate, and the home office. We can further edit this by clicking on edit. We want to edit the title, sales by segments. Then we can always change this by making it fit our specification or our needs. There we go. It's now centered. this is a donor chart. We want the donor chart to be large. We can also remove that or show the total. Let's show the total. And the value is sum of sales. We are grouping by segments. We can show the ledgers or not show the ledgers. In this case, let's not show the ledgers. We can include the data labels. Let's include them. And we have the tooltip. And I think this is perfect as it is. Now we just need to worry about the size. Just need to worry about the size. Let's fit this well on our chart. It's just drag and drop. And there we go. There we go. We have sales by segment. And I think in this case, it is perfect as it is. And we can increase the size of these charts just to be sure that they are well visible and as they should be. Then let's look at another type of chart. We can look at a line chart now. Let's try to work with the line chart. Remember that a line chart is represent continuous data. We'll select the line chart. We want to represent the order dates. We have the order dates. Then we have the sales. Under this, we can color this based on shipment mode, I think. And you'll notice we have different lines based on the shipment modes. And since our chart represent all the dates from the start to the end, let's configure this to match our needs, all our specifications. There we go. We have a very nice chart. And since this is a long period of time, let's just extend this to the end and have this at the bottom. There you go. We have the line chart. That's it for a line chart. We can always edit these sales by shipment, and let's have this as large and center the title. There we go. We have ourselves a very nice chart, and that's just simple representation of how to create reports using the new QuickInsight method. Let's also further format this. We don't want the grid lines. We specify that we don't want these grid lines. We also don't want the data zoom. And I don't think we also need the, what else don't we need? We don't need the legends. That way we'll have a very nice chart. Then under this, I'll show you a new tool that I found. This is a ML powered insight. It informs us there is an anomaly at August 17th, 2017 based on our data, primarily driven by higher than expected daily total sales. For second cars at 4,000, we can set up anomaly detection, but this is advanced step that is available for those who understand and are well tuned to this tool. Let's now look at how to create another chart. We can work with gauge. Remember gauge in Power BI. We also have a gauge in this case. Let's create a new, and this will be gauge. This is a gauge, and sorry about that. We have it here. The value that we want to work with is okay. Let's work with sales, and we have 2 million. Let's assume the target value is, let's work with this. The minimum is 0 and the maximum is 3 million. And let's make this at 270. We can call this sales performance and center and bold and make sure that the title is visible. Remember, we can always change the settings by changing the color and other information that's required. Let's have this. You can see that the gauge is up to 2.2 million and the target is 3 million of sales. Let's further edit this and maybe change the color settings. Let's see if we have an option to change the color settings, which is an important aspect of any. I don't think we have that. We can have that. We have that. We can change the background and foreground color. Let's see. And we can also change this to, let's say, there we go. We have ourselves a nice and well done gauge. A gauge is used for KPIs, and as we agreed that the KPI values should always be at the top. Let's see. If we can move this at the top, let's undo that. We have our sales. Let's move it again. There we go at the top. And remember, we are working with sales in this case. Let's have another chart, and I want us to add a KPI value. In this case, we have a very nice KPI representation. Let's work with this. We are interested in sales, and we are also interested in profits. Let's see how it appears. We want the profits to be here. There we go. We have, sorry about that. We should interchange this. Let's remove that. And let's drag the profit at the top. That's our profit. And let's see our sale. Our sales is 2.2 million and the profit value is 200,000. And we can customize this and make it more presentable by, let's say, changing the colors. We can change the color here. Let's see. We can even change the layout of the KPI values. And we have these two methods. And let's assume that this is what we want. We don't want to make further changes. And let's see the main formatting features that are available for this chart. We only have formatting for visual representation of the card and KPI options. We can change the color of the values and the font and such information. We also have interactivity option. But for now, let's just settle for this and move this at the top. This, as you said, this is a KPI chart, and KPI values should be at the top to show the main and the basic information about our analysis. Let's drag it to the top. I kind of like this chart because we have the profit, we have the sales, and we can see that the profit is 12% of the sales, our total sales. Let's now try and align the two KPI values. Let's see, we can add additional charts to fit here, or we can just extend this. Let's see the final chart that we can add. At the top, we can have a table showing the subcategories. We can have a table showing the regions. Actually, let's show the subcategories. We have the subcategories, and then we have sales. We have sales and we have the profits. There you go. We have a very nice table. We can format this, and then let's see the formatting features available. We can format the cells. That's the good thing about this. We have the headers. We can format the headers to our specification. We can format all these based on our specifications. And let's show the total at the bottom. And I think we'll just let it stay as it is. We just need to make sure it fits very well. We can swap this and have a longer table. Let's have it this way. Let's make it a tree map. Let's make it a tree map or a heat map. Let's see if we can make it a heat map. Heat map is not very nice. Let's try a tree map. We have a tree map showing the sales by category. And I think this is nice than using a table. Finally, let's try and add a final chart to occupy this space. There at the top, or we can just have this. Let's just move this at the top. There you go. We have sort of a simple chart. Let's name this sales analytics. And let's see how this looks like. I think this is a nice chart. Remember that we can always add more formatting through this chart to make them look more presentable. And we have something else called themes. Let's apply a specific theme. Let's try and use this theme and see how our chart will finally look like. We can always change the theme if it doesn't fit our specification or our needs. Let's see, edit. Let's try and select a different theme. And there we go. We have a different theme and it looks better. Let's see if we can change the size of this and increase the size for that. We have ourselves a nice chart. That is a nice report. We can always change the setting to fit the width or fit the height. Let's see how it looks like. There we go. We have our nice chart. And you can notice the interactivity of this when you select a specific entry. That specific entry is and it is highlighted in all these. We can select this, and that's it. Notice that this is a simple illustration, so don't worry about the size or the presentability of our report. We'll cover this later on in our live classes. Finally, we can publish these by clicking on publish. Let's name this -1, and let's publish. There we go. I think it's perfect. Notice that we can share these using different means or different method. And I think personally, this is a well-looking chart, and we have potential. We can also export these. For example, we can export in PDF file, or we can print these. That's it for Amazon QuickInsight. And I think this is quite a good tool that has a lot of potential, and we can add a lot of formatting. It looks nice, it is interactive, and it meets most of the features we discussed earlier.